What's up, Airsofters of the internet? Jake here with Airsoft Parts Bin, back with another video. Today we're going to be doing kind of like a unboxing slash installation slash review, and we're going to be doing it on this today. I picked up this Strike Industries carbine kit or kit for the SIG P320. I know it's probably not the best time for the SIG P320, but it's the airsoft version, and there's nothing wrong with the airsoft version that are killing people. So we're going to dig right into this. I'm going to do a little unboxing, show what comes with it, and then do an installation, and then just kind of go over some features and how it feels in terms of ergonomics and shooting and whatnot. So let's dig right in. So I got this quite a while ago, but I didn't have a P320 to take apart and install in here. I finally got a P320, and now I'm going to do an installation, and that gives me a reason to open this. We'll start off by just taking the lid off. Nothing too crazy. Actually, the lid comes with some nice foam that's glued in, so that's kind of nice. And inside is the kit. So here we got the full carbine kit. It looks to be pretty much put together already, but we've got to drop in the pistol parts, and it comes with this spring. It looks like a stiffer, maybe magazine release spring. I didn't see anything about including or swapping a spring. Nothing underneath it. So here's the kit itself. So you're going to get the full kit. It's going to come with the charging handle, the lower frame, the upper frame, this compensator that looks kind of cool, and a spring for what I'm assuming is for the magazine release, but we'll find out when we do the installation. I already went ahead and took apart the P320, so I have all the parts needed for the installation. So here's the stock magazine release spring, and here's the one that comes in the kit, and it looks to be slightly longer, probably a little more. Oh yeah, it's definitely a lot stiffer as well, so maybe it just has to do with this lower frame compared to the stock P320 lower frame. But we'll go ahead and get the tools. I believe you might need a 2.5 to take this upper part off to drop in the lower frame. Actually, no. Okay, I thought it was a pin at first, but you need to remove this screw to get the pin out. So we'll go ahead and grab a tool for that, and we'll remove that. All right, so it ended up being a 2mm. Looks like we just have to remove this. It's got a small O-ring on there, probably to keep it retained in the threads. Push this pin out, and this should slide. Okay, so when you remove the pin, it's going to slide forward all the way off. Here's your upper, and we just need to work with the lower really, because we need to drop in this lower frame. So I did a previous video on a SRU kit, and I show how to remove the frame and how to remove the parts out of the P320. So if you want to reference that, you can. It's pretty simple. To remove it, you obviously take the slide off. You want to take the magazine release out. There's a little hole on the back end. You push in, and it's going to release this retaining tab. And when you release the retaining tab, the rest of the magazine release is going to pop out, and the spring is going to be in there as well. So you want to be careful. Then from there, you want to remove the slide lock, take that out, and when you remove that, the whole frame, internal frame section should just pop out of the external frame. And you can hold on to the external frame if you want to convert it back to a normal pistol, but right now we're just going to be using this piece and the small parts that I took out. So definitely don't want to throw this away either. These are kind of hard to come by, and I don't think they make aftermarket airsoft versions for these either. So that's kind of a downer too, especially if you want to change grips or something like that. I might do an individual video on the P320 as well. I haven't covered it, and I don't think there's very many right now out there, so I might do that next, but right now we'll focus on the kit. Inside the kit, there's going to be this little block. It's going to be held in by 2 screws, and it's going to be in the back of the kit, and you're going to have to remove this because this is going to be a locking piece for the rear of the internal hammer section. So once you get that removed and slid on, it's going to slide. There's this little spot right here. It's going to slide right in between the metal section and the rear cover that would be external on the pistol. And you're just going to want to slide it in place. And it should be pretty level, just like that. Okay. Now, to install the lower frame into the kit itself, the safety selectors are going to be too wide, so you might need to bend the kit a little bit to get the perfect alignment here. Got to make sure this block stays in place. And then once you have it down, you might need to push back on it so that it seats properly. There you go. So it took a little finessing, but essentially what I did was I had to push forward on it a little bit so that this block could slot back into its normal position, and then push back to where the block could be seated all the way rearward, and then pull up on this front section so that it can pivot in. Almost like when you're putting an AK magazine in, you got to put the front section in and pivot the rear to lock it in. Essentially almost the same like this, but reverse. Had to put the rear in first and then pivot the front to lock in. So once you have those methods down, so once you have that down, you can go ahead and reinstall the 2 screws that retain this block in. And snug them up a little bit. So they should look like this. 2 screws like this. Then I'm going to want to put the slide lock back in. And then for the magazine release, you're going to want to repeat the removal. We'll use the spring that it comes with because that's pretty sure that's what they want you to use anyways. So, oops. So, should just lock like that. Slide right there. I am going to use a small amount of silicone oil just to hold it in place so that it doesn't slide out of its spot while I'm trying to hold it in. That should be it. Now you can try it by just putting a mag in. Locks in. Press it, you remove it. Alright. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of travel on here when you do put the spring in. And it does seem a little, not misleading, but it does seem a little like it doesn't work because when you put it in, this tab is supposed to stick out like on the original lower frame. But right now it doesn't feel like there's a lot of travel on here, but I guess it is enough for the mag to lock in and for it to be releasable when pressing the mag release. So I guess it does work, but maybe if it felt more, it doesn't feel like a real magazine release. It just feels like a little tiny button that you're pressing. So that might be a little, people might get a little confused on that and think that it's not working properly, but always just get a mag and test it really quick. It's no big deal. And if it locks in when you put the mag in, then it should be good. But I'm going to have to shoot this a little bit and see if it actually retains in place. I haven't seen any mods that I needed to make, so everything should be dropping so far. Now, the final piece is obviously the slide. There we go. It's a little difficult to put in, so what I did was just use my 2 fingers to hold the rear sight and pull it back because it's kind of hard to get in there with the side guards in the way, and can't really get the front because the barrel needs to get pushed in as well. So just kind of use my 2 fingers to hold it back and then just lock it in place. So it's currently locked in place. Trigger's functional. Our safety is functional. It's a little stiff in there, but it's not that big of a deal. Now we'll slide the upper back on. Put our pin back in. Got to make sure the holes are aligned. And don't forget to put the screw back in with the O-ring. And that's basically the kit. So put a magazine in like that, and that's pretty much it. I will say it is a little hefty. It does feel good because it comes with a built-in kind of angled foregrip. This compensator is really cool. I don't think you can add a tracer to it because it has these little screws that hold this cap in, but I don't know if there's a replacement cap that goes on that has threads or acts as a tracer unit. So I think a tracer might be out of the picture for this. It does have a lot of rail space on top, so you can put anything between, you know, a small little red dot and a PEC box, or you can put an ACOG and a PEC box, or a flashlight that's canted to the side or something. So there's definitely a lot of rail space, and what's really cool is it gives the opportunity to use a SIG MCX or MPX style stock, and it has the cutouts for the stock as well. I have a stock here. I can try it out really quick. So I have a SIG stock here. Oh, that's a bummer. Can I not? Alright, so it looks like to install the stock, you have to take your screw out, remove the pin, slide the upper off, slide the stock on, slide your upper back on, align it, put the pin back in, that one's actually easier to put the pin back in, did it by hand, and then put your screw back in. You have a SIG stock on there. Kind of looks a little goofy, but I mean, they have more skeletal options. But I do like that they give you the ability to be able to use a MCX stock, and it does have the cutouts for the collapse, so you could collapse it, and then just to pop it back out. It does add a little bit of weight. I would recommend getting like the skeletal ones that's almost like a L-shaped, or they have like those drop stock ones. Those are cool too. But overall, this kit is pretty nice. I like the modularity. I like how easy it is to do installation. There was no mods required. This is injection molded, so if you saw my previous video about the SRU kit, it's 3D printed. The SRU kit is 3D printed. This is not, so you don't have to worry about leaving it in the sun and it melting, or just fracture points or damage or weak points. You know, this is injection molded, and it's all one piece, even the upper and the lower. So the upper is all one piece and the lower is all one piece. The upper is metal, the lower is injection mold, so you have a nice rugged upper that's, you know, it feels, you know, cast or whatever they use nowadays for these, but the lower is definitely injection molded. And overall, this is a pretty nice kit. If you're looking for a kit like this, it's definitely a futuristic looking kit. I don't think you can add any accessories like on the side, or besides the top rail, there's really not much space to add accessories. So if you're an accessories person, maybe not with this kit. It is bulky, I will admit. It's got, you know, it's pretty tall. There are some other SIG kits that are a little more compact. I believe Strike makes another kit that's the Raider, I think it is. I'll put a picture of it up right now. I honestly like that kit a lot more than this one, but overall, this is a pretty decent kit. If you're into futuristic looking guns and want to use the modularity of MCX stuff, then I would say this is the kit for you. I'm going to put a link in the description to this kit. I appreciate you watching the video. If you stick to the end, leave a like, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Psych, just kidding. Didn't mean to end the video like that. I wanted to give it a little shoot test and see how it was, and and see how the ergonomics were. So just so you can be able to get a better view of the functions of the gun. There's some things that I noticed that were kind of weird. The charging handle on top, it's not a perfect hole that goes through, so you can't like put your finger through a loop to be able to pull back. So it requires basically like an M4 style rack when it comes to charging the gun. If you look on the video, I put my 2 fingers on the back and rack it like that. I tried doing it with 1 finger and 2 finger. It is possible, but it is a little bit more complicated, and it's kind of hard to do depending on the strength and the grip you have. Another thing too I noticed is that when I was firing it, I'm dry firing it in this video, but the one thing I did notice is that the slide doesn't lock back, and I believe it's because the slide release is not sticking far enough. The slide release is not sticking far up enough on an empty magazine, and you have to manually push it. I tried looking to see if there's something I can do where, you know, maybe the internal frame is not sitting properly, but everything seems to be lined up properly, so it's probably going to require some mods, which kind of sucks because then that makes it not really a direct drop-in system. But that's just some afterthoughts I had.